It just ends so abruptly. I got to work on fading out that. But welcome back to the Average Reviews, where we embrace nostalgia through a full-blown cinematic deep dive.
And this week we're kicking off something really special, our brand new childhood fantasy series. This is season 3, episode 15, and what better place to begin than with Time Bandits, the 1981 cult classic from the mind of Terry Gilliam.
This movie has it all. Time traveling dwarves, Robin Hood, evil incarnate, and a wardrobe that opens up into pure childhood chaos. It's weird, it's wonderful, it's very British, and it absolutely broke our young brains in the best way.
And speaking of artistic brilliance, we are so excited to welcome back a familiar voice and one hell of a talent, Paul.
Hey guys, how you doing?
What's up?
I'm glad to be back. This is one of my favorite movies. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
No, you're good. We're glad you're here. Glad you love this movie. You might remember Paul from the Autopsy of Jane Doe episode we did just about a year ago, which was a great episode because it's a great movie. Paul had some great insights all around. Great episode. But he has also, for many of you tuning in, Jessica has been on, previously known as Ivy Tholen. Jessica has been on just about, she's like our third most frequent person on this podcast. It goes me, Jonathan, and then probably Jessica. Yeah. And you might be familiar with her fantastic book covers, which are Paul's artwork. Paul has turned in incredible art. And so he did that for Ivy Tholen's books. And now as Jessica Lacey, he is continuing to do incredible work on her book covers, making them pop off the shelves. So yeah, Paul, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Her new one, which is coming out, what is it, September 9th? Oh, well, not new, yeah, but like a month. Tastes Like Candy. Yeah. Jessica Lacey and Sourcebooks asked me to do kind of like an update or a reimagining of the original Tastes Like Candy cover, and I think it came out pretty great. I just got a copy of it, an advanced copy, 2-3 days ago, and it's looking really nice. Yeah, so I'm super excited about that.
Isn't it so?
It's so cool.
Isn't it so satisfying to get it in your hands?
It's an unreal, like, because digital artists, you're so used to seeing things on the computer screen, and yes, holding it in your hand is just such a different experience.
I can't imagine how great it feels, especially like your cover art is fantastic. I'm pretty sure we've talked about it with Jessica. We talked about it with you on the last episode. Like, I read Tastes Like Candy because of that cover art. It pops. It works. And then the book is just as good as the cover art. So it is a 1-2 punch of fantastic. And I can't imagine seeing you kind of taking your original idea for that cover art and then taking your skills and practice over the years and breathing fresh life into it. Mm-hmm. And it turned out amazing. It looks so good. It looks so
Appreciate it. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah.
We're glad you're here. All right, Jonathan, take it away.
Yeah, Paul has an eye for bold, creepy beauty, and it's perfect for this kind of conversation. And trust us, his insights are just as sharp as his illustrations.
So buckle up, grab your map, and don't trust the supreme being. Let's dive into the chaotic, charming, and slightly traumatizing magic of Time Bandits.
Let the fantasy begin.
All right. So I was telling Jonathan before Paul hopped on, this was a first-time watch for me. I have never seen this movie.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah. So there are actually a couple on this childhood fantasy series that we're doing that are first-time watches for me, which is weird because my mom raised me on fantasy. Mm-hmm. But I was raised on like the Rankin Bass Hobbit movie. I'm pretty sure it was Rankin Bass. The animated Hobbit movie from the 70s. That is fantastic. It's a great film still. I was raised on that. I was raised on The Never Ending Story. I watched that movie. I swear it was weird. And we have that one coming up, so that'll be in the series. But there were a couple of the childhood fantasy series that we're doing that I just don't know if my mom wasn't familiar with, and so we didn't watch them, or she saw them and didn't like them, and so we didn't see them. But I can tell you right off the beginning, British humor was not something that happened in our house very often. It was not something understood by my parents. And so we didn't watch a lot of British humor movies. So this is probably why this one didn't make a showing in our house. So this was a first watch for me. And I do feel, not to blame my mom, but I do feel like I was robbed as a child just a little bit. So
understandably.
And we will dive into that. But because of my lack of experience with this movie, I would like to talk last.
Okay.
So if one of you wants to take first, because I've seen this movie one time. I didn't get in a second watch because I've been extremely busy with my job, but I didn't get in a second watch. So I want to hear you guys kind of break this down, because I don't feel like I can do it proper justice. So I'll kind of give my first watch opinion at the end. So if Paul or Jonathan, one of you want to take it off?
Jonathan, you want to go first?
Yeah, let's go sandwich on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I grew up on Terry Gilliam, like Monty Python, and the Flying Circus kind of stuff. Both my parents were big into that. So I had a lot of influence of that. And I've seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail so many times. Life of Brian, that whole British humor thing, like that was just there for me growing up. So when I see more of that stuff over the years, it makes me happy. And then coming back to this is some good memories, from my childhood with stuff like this. It's just so weird and it's so out there. And with this story in particular, it is crazy mess. You've got this little boy, Kevin, with his menial parents who are just, you can tell looking at them that they're just bought into the marketing for all of the modern day bougie, blah, 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 and don't really pay him much attention. He seems like pretty much a neglected child in a way. But man, he's into all this different stuff and his parents just don't care, but he has an imagination on him. And you see him go through this whole weird adventure with these dwarves, these little people who bust in through his wardrobe, scare him, start trying to beat on him like he's a grown man. And he's like, yo, it's just a kid. Like, what are you doing? And they end up going on this wild adventure from time, period, place, war, battle, famous characters all throughout different parts of history, only to try and find a way for him to get back and for them, these little people in like their thieving ambitions to be robbers and how bad they are at it. And just, it's a wild landscape of adventure. And it's something that definitely can mess with a kid's head, with as bizarre as it is and the way it ends. It's just a really, really crazy film.
Yeah.
The ending is something I love.
It's such a, and I also grew up on Monty Python movies. My parents were huge fans of Monty Python, and the Terry Gilliam films. This because I think Gilliam said that this is like the first of a trilogy of imagination movies, like this, Brazil, and Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Yes.
I didn't see Brazil.
Me neither.
Until way later in life, but I do remember renting this movie and Adventures of Baron Munchausen super early in my childhood. And they're those kind of kids movies from the 80s where like it's mostly silly, but there's those few moments, they're just so terrifying for a kid that's what you remember. And I was thinking about that when I was writing up my review. I was like, I think about this movie probably conservatively once every few weeks, because it scarred me. And it's great. I mean, it's fun. It's silly. It's goofy. But there's those little bits, especially like the last act, where it's like it's just so terrifying to a kid that it's just in your head forever.
Evil.
Yeah. I can't. So, like I said, I didn't get to see this as a kid, but I can imagine like my childlike sensibilities. Seeing the dwarf get turned into a pig might have traumatized me a little bit as a kid. There's also just the number of times when he like vaporized the dog.
He blew up so many people in the last bit.
Yes.
Barnaby, not Barnaby the dog,
I was like,
man.
holy crap.
Yeah. Poor pupper.
There's also just a ton of dark imagery in this child story. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually kind of, I don't have kids yet, long story, but I'm not necessarily opposed to that in kids stuff. You just kind of knowing when to expose your particular child to them, because the world's a messed up place. So, but I was watching it and just like that image of the soldiers on spears piled in front of evil.
Yep.
I was like, that's intense.
Yeah.
That was intense. But this story, I will say, this was a one-time watch for me, a first-time watch. I'll watch it again someday. I do think the story on my first watch is definitely a kid's story.
Yes.
It's very much, if I had seen this at 10, 11, 12, I totally would have a different perspective on this film than I do today. And that is not the fault of the film, because I think that was kind of the point of the film. It was for kids. It's a kids movie. But it's got enough of that mature element in it to keep adults engaged as well. I just think it kind of affected how I view it now. But I wasn't expecting the ending to get quite as deep as it does.
Yeah.
I was kind of expected the like, hey, all the people we met along the way come to help us at the end. That's a typical, that's a trope of childhood fantasy. We meet all these characters and they help us in the final battle. And if you ever read a Redwall book, you'll have that same plot. But I don't think I was expecting the conversation about evil and free will and all of that. I was taken aback by that. I was like, wow, that's pretty deep, pretty advanced. It was good stuff. But this story of the kid kind of lying in the wardrobe, getting sucked into this other universe, it's time travel. It was fascinating. It's unique. I've never seen anything quite like time traveling dwarves who worked in the landscaping department of God.
Yeah.
Creating the universe. Like, it's insane. It's extremely creative, unique. I've never seen anything like it, even in the childhood fantasy. This is nothing like Neverending Story. This is very different. So I gotta give it immense credit on that alone. So are we ready for scores?
Well, I do want to say, I have two things on that. One, earlier this week, for some reason, I watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and watching this again for the first time in 20, 30 years, I was like, wait a minute, because they both movies, they both go to I have it right here, hold on. They both go and see Napoleon first, right?
Oh.
Bill and Ted, they go to Wild West next, but this one they go to, where do they go here?
The Greece?
Was this one Greece next?
I think it's
Robin Hood.
You're right. It's Middle Ages. Robin Hood. Yep. Middle Ages, which Bill and Ted do what? Fourth? 1, 2, 3, fourth. Yeah. And then Ancient Greece, and then Middle Ages. It's so weird to me that I never picked up on that Bill and Ted was probably an homage to this movie.
Yeah,
that's a possibility.
This is
a
81.
lot of the same beats in terms of where they go and who they talk to. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was that when I was a kid, I remember this movie being like was this a dream or wasn't it a dream kind of thing. And rewatching it now, I feel like it's much clearer that it did happen. And when at the end, when Supreme Being says this was all a test for evil, I kind of also feel like it's a test for Kevin too, because like if there's evil, there's got to be good, and what would be the proxy for good? And I feel like Kevin would be that the person being tested in that way. It's interesting to me.
It's all part of God's plan.
How deep it is. No. Yeah. How much deeper I see it now than I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I like that. That raises some good points. I watched this movie. I didn't have enough time to watch it again, so I watched a couple of YouTube videos. But there was those great sources, YouTube. A couple people, apparently there was a theory for a while that Kevin died, and this was that like the fire happened and he died in the fire, and this was kind of like his trip through the afterlife, and then he was returned.
Wow.
So apparently that theory was circulating online as well.
I had a different one.
That is like, there are a couple ways you can you have a different one?
So it doesn't really apply, I don't think, so much in this way, but like before, it's been a while since I'd watched the movie, so I kind of forgot about how it ended. I just remembered him not having his parents at the end. So before I watched the end and what actually happens, my theory for a minute there was that Kevin is a sleepwalker, hence why his parents have all the plastic on everything so he doesn't ruin the furniture, not just because it was a popular thing at the time, but maybe Kevin has like this disorder and maybe messes up the place and stuff. And when you see him with the torch and the map threatening to burn it, and then evil in that smoldering piece, for a minute there I thought that maybe he was sleepwalking, caught something on fire, which caused the house to burn down and losing his parents. But then I watched the end and was like, nope, that's not what happened at all. Damn.
I do think the idea of him dying in the fire, I think that's interesting. But the person I was watching brought it up because you see at the end, the parents don't rescue him in the fire. They rescue their appliances.
Yeah.
And so there's a couple different ways. Why can't I think of that word? Objects being more important than people. What is that called?
Materialist.
It's not possessive. Materialism. Yes, their materialism takes priority over their own child.
Yeah.
Or he was dead, and so that's why they didn't. But I'm still like, in that rush of the fire, I would still carry a dead child out as opposed to letting them burn.
His parents were consumer whores. That's all it is. His parents were consumer whores.
Yeah, absolutely, from the beginning. I do think that was an interesting. That is my one complaint with the story. So watching it as an adult, I want more setup at the beginning. I don't think it's a knock on the direction, because there's a lot of setup in the way it's directed, from them watching the game show that is about materialism or living. That's the theme of the show, to their total lack of interest in Kevin. And him being just kind of this energetic, enthusiastic kid about learning. There's a lot of setup in his bedroom. It's all very subtle. But I kind of wanted to see more of him battling with wanting his parents' attention and affection. I wanted more of that. I wanted to feel that through the film. I think it's a very subtle line. I wanted more disappointment from him at the beginning. I wanted to see. I never really felt like the dwarves became a stand-in family for him. I never felt that kind of camaraderie. I felt it more with Agamemnon than the dwarves. And then at the end, when he loses his parents, I actually think it's a brilliant ending. I love it. But I wanted to feel that kind of emotional through line a little bit more, because my first watch, I didn't pick up on it until quite a ways in that emotional through line was part of it. I kind of just thought it was this weird abstract journey. I just thought it was an abstract tale through time. And then I think it was once he gets to Agamemnon that I'm starting to be like, oh, he's looking to be noticed. He's looking for the family who wants him and prioritizes him. And so it took me too long to get there, I think. So that is my only major knock on the story. Outside of that, it's wildly creative and unique. So for my score, I'm a 4 on the story.
Okay, all right. I'm at a 5. This is so outlandish for me as a child, and I still love it. How outlandish it is now, yes, 5.
Yeah, I also gave it a 5, mostly because it destroyed my little child brain, and I still fun. It's Terry Gilliam dark, right?
Yeah.
It's just what he does, but it's also funny. It's whimsical. It has like some weirdly historically accurate stuff in it, even though ancient Greece was represented by Morocco. Like it's just I thought it was a very fun story.
Yeah.
Heck yes.
All right. So on to the next category, which is our character arc.
Yeah.
So main character here is Kevin. Yeah.
It's brutal because, man, it's hard with this because it's as great of a movie as it is. There's not really much in the way of growth, in any way really. Like Kevin maybe is a little more forward through it towards the end, before coming back to reality, and it feels like he just got kind of dumped on, really. He's stuck with nothing at the end. Like there's his reward from the supreme being, and just as part of this test, and he now the kid's messed up because he has no parents. He's been through this wild situation. He's got pictures, but nobody will believe that it's anything real. How's he gonna explain those? But oh my God, there's nothing for Kevin. There's nothing for him. And the rest of the crew, the dwarves, they just go back to sucking up and kissing ass.
Yeah, I
can
totally
we get
agree.
a dog back?
I feel like Kevin was along for the ride, and literally everyone else was just acting in their nature, like animal, like a fox is going to be a fox, a scorpion is going to be a scorpion. Like all these people were just being them, and there wasn't really any kind of like growth as characters. But it's also, I don't know if it needed it. I don't know.
Okay. So this is one where actually I don't know. I might have given it more credit. I actually thought there was a decent amount of growth here because Kevin kind of begins the film as lonely and ignored. And I felt like he came through this with significantly more confidence at the end than he had at the beginning. It's kind of a forced coming of age, not where like he slowly grows up, but where he's taken on this adventure where he sees evil incarnate do things that his suburban lifestyle would not allow for. He's watched evil impersonate his parents. Like he's seen some wild things, and through I don't want to use the word blunt because I liked it, but he gains his independence. he's not attached to his parents. So his parents literally are vaporized by evil at the end of the movie. And I can see how that would be blunt, but I also think it is the full circle or the full culmination of Kevin's story, in that he is not tied to the way his parents viewed him and the way his parents treated him, but he is an independent person of them. And that strangely worked for me. So he's watched this destructive power of evil, and evil literally takes his parents. And even though it's kind of a blunt ending, he's free. Like, he is independent now. And so I don't know that it is a perfect arc for me. I'm not even sure I would call it great, because it's not super clearly defined.
Right.
Because the bandits kind of remain the same the entire movie. I found them on my first watch little more than plot device and humor. I couldn't tell you who's who on the first watch. I don't know which bandit is which bandit. I couldn't tell you what significance they hold. Evil is unchanged. Evil remains the same, but Kevin has just a little bit of arc here from the beginning, being super subjective, to gaining his independence throughout. So I won't sing its praises as the most transformative arc that we've seen, but I did actually, that is one of the elements that stood out, was him being free kind of at the end. And actually thinking in a strangely optimistic way, his parents sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't good parents, I'm going to say that. And I actually, at the end, was like, maybe this kid can grow now. Maybe he can find family. And so, while he didn't find it in the movie necessarily, I did feel that growth through from beginning to end.
Okay.
I will agree. So, yeah, he did seem more confident. I'll agree to that for sure.
I mean, because we see him say he stands up to evil and distracts evil.
Yeah.
The minions of evil, so that the dwarves can get away.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So I fell for him towards the end, where I did not. I'll be honest, I did not towards the beginning. I wanted more of that at the beginning to sympathize with him, and it didn't really click until later. But yeah. So we ready for scores on that one?
Sure.
Let's kick it.
I'm a 3.
I'm a 3.
I'm a 2.
I think it's good.
Wow. Okay.
I just don't like how he just got left hanging with nothing, with his parents blowing up, and then him just being like, okay, just kind of looking around, Mom, Dad, like, where's the panic? Where's whatever's going on? What's going to happen to him now? Sean Connery, the fireman, is not going to come back for him.
Right. The producer, I saw a thing where the producer said that he's like, no, this is way too dark an ending. And they did a test screening. And one of the children, or a few of the children, they asked him what their favorite part was. And they were like, when the parents blew up. And so the producer was like, okay, fine, we'll leave it in.
Kids can be brutal,
I saw that same thing. One of the YouTube videos I was watching talked about that. Like, Terry fought to keep it because the kids in the test screening resonated with that scene.
Right.
And the YouTube commentator was like, I hate to know what that meant for the parents of those children. Yeah. All right. The music and sound design for this film, if my research is correct, the score was composed by Mike Moran with some contributions from George Harrison from the Beatles.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He was one of the producers.
Ending credit song is very memorable, very awesome. Gotta love that one.
He produced this. This was actually the second Terry Gilliam production of his. He produced a previous one. I don't remember what it was.
Life of Brian.
My brain is fried tonight. Okay.
Yeah, Handmade Films. Handmade Films produced Life of Brian, and then this. And Gilliam wanted it just to be score. He didn't want songs in it because he I think he felt it cheapened it. And then Harrison was like, "Do I need to remind you that I'm the reason these two movies got made?" So, and he's like, "Okay, fine. You can you can put your song at the over the credits. How about that?"
Yeah, I think that's a fair trade. We'll talk about getting this movie made, because that was actually one of the things that I found very interesting about this film, was some of the history behind it. This is one, guys, that like the music did not stand out for me on first watch. So if you have something, Jonathan, hop on.
Well, it's not so much about the music, considering this is a movie for kids. It's all about more so the sound design in this film, the effects of everything, a lot of clash and blast that shocks the senses, that really kind of would keep a kid focused, that would keep their attention through all of the action and everything, and it draws so much attention to what you're seeing that it gives a lot more depth with all of that. So, there's not really much to really say on the music aside from the awesome contributions by George Harrison, which super sweet. Yeah,
I agree. It's the music is very the score is very understated, and I feel like the sound design, the sound effects, the explosions, the sound that those like longhorn creatures at the end of the movie, the sound that they make, that was like more than half of why those things gave me nightmares, was the sound that they made.
I also
that's a very good point.
I like when when he's doing his like circus thing, where you see the thing come out the top of his head with the blade, and it's got the circus music playing, the whole carnival thing. And it kind of also made me think though that maybe was an inspiration from Tim Burton in a way with Beetlejuice.
Oh, had to be.
Right? So just the music from that part too, also just fun in the weird moment, the stress that they're all going through trying to beat evil at the end. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the sound effects do stand out more than any of the songs for me. I couldn't tell you. If you played the score for me right now, I would not remember that it was from the movie I just watched. And that's not to knock it, just like it's not Jaws, as to use the Jaws comparison, which is frequently the number 5 comparison. But the sound effects were really good. I do like a lot of, even this movie does a lot of things with scale, with whether it is floor level angles to make it look like something is extremely tall, to also the sound effects of making things sound extremely large or extremely small. I do think they did a great job of orchestrating the sound effects to make the worlds that we're visiting seem more real. So I do appreciate that element of it. I thought they did an excellent job with that. I was a 4 on sound design.
Okay. Yeah, I'm same right there.
Same 4. Boom, mostly because of sound effects. Sound effects really carried that category.
Hell yeah.
That is for sure. The song, George Harrison song, is that called Dream Away? Does that sound correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The editing and special effects, this is a highlight of the film for me. So Jonathan, you want to take that away?
Dude, special effects, there's so much practical work as well as other like new stuff that was like coming out more new for effects in the 80s. But they still kind of like kept some of that Monty Python flying circus-esque kind of element to some art stuff in there, which I thought was cool. Special effects though, man, like at the end when Kevin's parents blow up, it's not the explosions themselves, but as you get that overhead shot with him walking up, it looks like the 2 piles of his parents. It looks like the smoke is going in reverse instead of going up.
Yep.
And I was like, that's a trip, dude. Like, holy cow, And I don't know how many people actually noticed that, but man, that caught my eye at the end. I was like, that's pretty rad. But we get a multitude of other cool stuff aside from the blast work. Once you see like the one guy that's in the like after the Kevin and the dwarves bust the dude and his wife out in the water off the boat. He's like, I can cough. Oh, and then you see everything kind of flare up and do its thing is really cool. Stuff like the creatures when they're like popping out of the stairway when they're trying to escape evil, chasing them and everything. There's a lot of weird like small stuff like that. There's just a lot of details to all of the different effects in there. I like the opening title sequence though. I really like because that was really cool and artistic. With kind of a graphic kind of design, like a digital graphic thing kind of almost to it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep rambling on. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, Gilliam also did a lot of like hand animated stuff for Monty Python, and you could tell like he still loves doing that with the title sequence. You can tell he still loves to do that like hand animated aesthetic. And then I just gotta say, like, there's not really a category for this, so I'm gonna throw it in here. But the costume design is just so amazingly good in this movie. Yes. I'm watching it's on the TV behind me right now, but the Minotaur is amazing. Like the yes. henchmen with their plastic suits, it's very like otherworldly, futuristic. Like Gilliam reuses that in 12 Monkeys. When they go back to the future, or in the future parts of 12 Monkeys, they're all wearing similar like plasticky outfits to these henchmen, and it's just so good.
They're garbage bag suits.
Yeah, garbage bag. It's just it feels otherworldly, and it's awesome. What else do I have? Oh, the actual special effects part. The miniature of the Fortress of Absolute Darkness is so awesome when they do the pan up, and it just goes on forever and ever and ever. And then they go in, and there's the maze, and then the cages are cool, like over the bottomless pit. His attention to detail for visuals is, I believe, unmatched in the 80s by far.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up a couple that, like, the use of miniatures is something I love. I loved seeing it in this movie, especially the scene you're talking about. I think it's a lost art. I would honestly love to see more movies today use miniatures instead of CGIing the crap out of stuff. Like, it looks so good. It looks so good. My favorite scene, and I'm not even sure it's like a special effects genius scene, but I love the sequence of the giant with the pirate ship on his head.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I think it is edited and cut brilliantly. I think it is so cool. The entire thing, from him like shifting his head, and then we cut to the inside of the boat where they're like hanging on at extreme angles. It's so good. And then as he's walking towards the beach and you see inside the little house on the beach, the whole thing is just so cool. And this movie gave me multiple points where I felt not quite to the weird melting extreme, but I got like Salvador Dali painting like weird landscapes and just this dreamlike quality to everything that I loved. I loved the glass barrier that breaks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So simple, so well done. That's actually one of the I've said many times on this show, I have a weird sense of humor. British humor is not up my alley. I don't often find it funny. I don't. But when they're pressed up against the glass, I found that scene funny. I thought that scene was pretty funny. I don't know. I have a dumb sense of humor. But that scene I thought was pretty funny. So I think the effects, the editing as well, there's a lot of the cuts aren't perfect, but they're very good. And you see, well, in my research, I was reading about like, this is tiny budget.
Yeah,
this
$5
was,
million.
Yeah, this was a tiny budget film, and it does not watch, even for 1981, it does not watch like a tiny budget film. It looks like they had big budget to pull these effects off, and they did not. So, and that's not, they did not pull off the effects. They did not have the budget because it looks like a larger budget film. I watched Crawl recently.
Love that movie.
Do you guys remember that movie?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's there's a 4K release coming out pretty soon. But I watched that for the first time recently, and the effects in this movie are on par or better than what's happening in Crawl. So I got to give this movie a ton of credit. I don't think it's perfect, but there's awesome forced perspective. There's awesome paintings, awesome miniatures. The effects in this movie were tangible. Even, I don't think there was any like animated explosions or anything like that. I think it was all quick cuts to effects explosions.
Yeah.
I mean, that is
fine.
something.
Yeah.
It's a lost art. It's so cool.
One of the part though that does bother me though was when the Cow Skull Creek minions are chasing them through the evil's lair, and you have that one that shoots the fireball, and it looks like a rocket going down a line at them, and then he shoots the second one that kind of just shoots freeform towards the ground, and then you see them kind of like run out as one explodes in front of them instead of waiting for it to explode first, then run. That was kind of rough. That part I say was kind of cheap on the effect for me.
When I watched that part, I was like, the only thing I was really thinking of was like, oh my god, they just blew something up right next to a kid. I hope that wasn't. I hope that was an effect and not like they really did blow up something right next to a kid.
The legality of injuring a kid with an explosion on set.
Right. It looks like they walk right into it as they're trying to escape.
Twilight Zone did way worse. Oof, that's dark. Sorry.
That's very dark. Yikes.
I'm a 4 because kind of like Jonathan said, they're not perfect. You can see a lot of how the effects were done or accomplished. That does not diminish the awesomeness of seeing, for lack of a better term, practical magic on screen using physical objects to create the illusion. It's awesome.
One last thing, the evil's finger guns, the one pop, the two pop.
Yeah, when he pops it up, yep.
I was like, that's pretty fucking cool, man. Like, I was like, man, I thought about that so many times when I was a kid. But with all of that said, I'm a 4.
I'm a 5. The effects, like, I mean, the explosions aside, the miniatures, the matte painting, the forced perspective, the in-camera effects, the costumes alone, for me, push it to a 5.
Costume. That's and set design itself.
Set design. My god, the inside of the Fortress of Absolute Darkness, kind of mirroring his toys in his room, like it's just so good. There's giant like stone Legos scattered in the set. There's the chessboard up on the wall. There's like, you know, the cowboys representing his little toy cowboys. Like it was so good, and it's just something that you don't see anymore in set design nowadays. I loved it.
You know what? We went into set design in that category, and that takes me up to a 5 because I brought it up, and then you hammered in exactly like seeing in the beginning the Legos spread out on the floor, and then seeing that at the end, kind of. It's one of those things that gave me, like, it was the magic of childhood fantasy movies, is that this is all kind of playing out as if they were toys in his room, playing it's like that to me is just, I don't know. I don't know if it's poetic. I don't know if it's brilliant, but I loved it. I thought that was such a nice touch of having the sets transform into his toys that, yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to adjust. I'm going to count that in here and I'm going to bring it up to 5. The set design, costumes, all of that, going up to 5 on that one.
That's all right. That's fair.
But then we can jump to script.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah.
Script. So it was written by Terry Gilliam, who, from what I saw on YouTube, was kind of desperate to get something written. So that's one of the interesting things about the behind the scenes of this film.
Yeah, he co-wrote it with Michael Palin, who is also Monty Python. And then I saw that he was trying to do Brazil first, but he couldn't get that off the ground. So he wanted to do a family film, and that turned out to be this movie.
I like the script on this one.
Yeah.
There's so much dialogue, and it's smart. It's punchy in some parts. It's playful, but it's something that a lot of it's stuff that even kids could get and parents alike. God, I mean, like just the dialogue just between all the different characters is insane, and God himself at the end, the supreme being, man, just the way his dialogue is about everything and testing and this carefree attitude and not really worried about anything. It's pretty cool. I don't know. I'm not really speaking well about script, but I don't know. That's just kind of my thought there. Whatever. Paul?
No, you're totally right. He came off as like he has a grander plan where he's not sweating the small things because there's a much larger universe for him to care about. Yeah, I agree. The dialogue was funny, but that's expected, because again, Monty Python was just so biting, so perfect. I thought the pacing was good. I thought the exposition was, for a kids movie, it's clear enough for a kid to understand, but it doesn't like beat you over the head with it.
That's super important.
I thought it was very strong. Strong script.
Yeah. So for me, this is an issue, guys, that like British humor doesn't resonate with me. I've seen Monty Python. I don't think I laughed at Monty Python, like maybe twice in the whole film. And I hate saying that because even though I don't find it funny, I still enjoy the film itself. And that's kind of how I felt with this film. Was like 3 or 4 of the jokes landed for me, even though I could tell like, oh, this is humor. And this is where I think if I had multiple watches of this film under my belt, I would pick up on more of the humor. It would be funnier than it is the first time. I also think a lot of this humor is very kid oriented. Like Evil's rant about worms. I'm not knocking the rant about worms. I just thought it was like, that's something a kid would think is hilarious is what I got watching it. What struck me the most, and I mentioned this earlier in the story, was I did not expect the Supreme Being to show up and talk about free will and why evil exists. Like that kind of blew my mind because I think that's something very heavy and kind of a little deep for kids to understand. But I don't think it's something that should have been left out. I think that's something like this was kind of in the age where a kids movie was supplemented by conversations with parents after, like, hey, let's watch that and then talk about what it was saying maybe. And so I kind of appreciated that kind of heavy discussion in this film. But for me, I was struggling on first watch with necessarily why things were happening early on and where it was going. And whereas as a kid, I'd just be along for the ride. Like, oh, some dimension hopping dwarves grabbed me and I'm going to Greece. I'm just, as an adult, I'm like, why is this happening? They stole it from the supreme being and they're robbing stuff. And it seemed very episodic versus linear, if that makes sense. So this was one that, like, the humor is not my cup of tea, but I did appreciate the deeper message that's kind of being conveyed. And this is why I wanted to go last, because first watch, I don't think I picked up enough on it to be fair. So I'm kind of cushioning my score a little bit on it. But I do think on rewatches, this is one of those scripts that gets better over time. The more you spend with it, the more you pick up on some of those details that make this great.
See, there's so many serious moments, and when dialogue starts up, it seems like it's serious to a point, and then out of nowhere, it goes comic on you. And I really appreciate that, and I think that's part of the rough part about the British sense of humor, maybe for you. Because you got the moments like where Evil's doing his little thing, and he's talking about how God isn't interested in technology. He cares nothing for the microchip or the Silicon Revolution. Look how he spends his time. 43 species of parrots, nipples for men. And then one of his minions pitches in slugs. And he goes off again. Slugs. He created slugs. They can't hear. They can't speak. They can't operate machinery. Are we not in the hands of a lunatic? So it starts out with that serious note, and then it just goes all comic and weird on you.
Very kid-oriented.
I also love kind of there's some depth to that resonates today. Technology kind of being the subject of evil. And I mean, I hate social media and all that stuff. And here I am trying to do a podcast and have a presence on Instagram. But like, there's still something to that I think resonates today. Mm-hmm. So I think I got to give the script. It was a 4. It was a 3 for me, unfortunately. I think it was good. I think on rewatches, I think it would be great.
Oh. That's okay. All right.
That's okay.
I know.
I'm at a 5, man.
I know.
When you got lines like the Supreme Being saying, I should do something very extroverted and vengeful to you, honestly, I'm too tired. So I think I'll transfer you to the growth department, brackens, more shrubs, that sort of thing, with a 19% cut in salary backdated at the beginning of time. You know, so many like fun lines like that, even though he's trying to be serious. God, love that shit, man.
Yeah. I think it's funnier when you say it.
I gave it a 4. The 1 point off for me was early on, like the first act. It's kind of rough in that there's no real catalyst, or like the focus of their journey changes.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason I gave it a 4 instead of a 5, but because the dialogue is so good. But yeah, it's missing that. It's missing the catalyst early on in the story for me.
I think that's fair. I think that is a better. You said it better than what I did. Was like I was missing that kind of the catalyst at the beginning. That's why are we on this journey? Like we haven't watched Neverending Story yet, but we will. But he gets bullied and retreats to the attic with a book. And that's kind of what sets his journey off. He's sent to his room and dwarves pop out of his closet. And like, I don't know. I was missing
shenanigans.
But yeah. So
sometimes
onto the acting. Yeah. Onto the acting. This is actually a fantastic cast. So take it away. This cast is awesome.
It's loaded up for the time. Sean Connery, Shelley Duvall, John Cleese, Michael Palin, Ian Holm, Peter Vaughn, even, who is like one of the maesters in Game of Thrones. You know, so many other people. And David Werner, who's played so many antagonistic roles in film, as well as like television. David Rappaport. Rappaport was pretty popular throughout the 70s and 80s as an actor when it comes to like little people. The rest of the crew, I can recall them in other movies, but nothing major. But otherwise, just a very, very well loaded cast with some awesome talent. You know, so I think that the delivery from everyone was well executed. I think they played well into the comedic parts of it in conjunction with the dialogue. And aside from just like the slapstick that they had going as well, they really delivered in this, I think.
Yeah. I feel like Gilliam is kind of similar to, what is his name? I can't remember the director's name.
Oh no! Name a movie.
Fall of the House of Usher. I'm totally blanking.
The series or the movie?
The series. It's
that was Flanagan.
Flanagan, sorry, yeah, Mike Flanagan. Yeah. Where Gilliam uses this like a small group of people in literally all of his movies. Like the right now the ogre scene is going on, and the ogre's wife is actually, I'm sorry, both of them, the ogre and the ogre's wife, are in Brazil, like, which was just a few years later. Okay. But the things I wanted to talk about for acting for this category is that I read that Gilliam said he wanted the film from a kid's point of view, and he was afraid that just having a kid wasn't going to sustain the movie, so he surrounded him with people of similar height, which would have been the dwarves. And I thought that was a very smart choice, since he wanted to keep it from that kid's perspective. And then the other thing that I wrote in my notes is that Sean Connery didn't even try to do a Greek accent. He just walked on set and he's like, "Yep, I'm Sean Connery." And he's like, "Okay, all right.
I'm a Scottish Grecian."
Yeah, exactly.
So what I saw about Sean Connery was that Terry wrote in his script that the warrior was supposed to remove their helmet and look like Sean Connery, because they did not believe they had the budget to get Sean Connery.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Surprise.
And so Sean read the script. Yeah, Sean read the script and loved it so much he was like, "I'll do it."
Yeah.
So I love that little bit about it. Like, yeah, I'll do it, but I'm not going to do a Greek accent. I'm going to show up in the meat.
I read that it was also his idea to also play a firefighter at the end of the movie.
Oh,
Sean Connery.
Okay. I heard that too.
I thought that was awesome.
I thought so. When he showed up doing that, though, I did expect some of the other characters to show up. I mean, I don't know how, because there was 30 seconds left in the movie.
Yeah.
But I expected, like, oh, is like Shelley Duvall going to be the neighbor? No, but I was kind of looking at that.
Like a Wizard of Oz kind of situation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody was a representation.
Right.
So Craig Warnock as Kevin, this was his only film from what I saw. He did this. And it was actually his brother who auditioned for the role.
Oh.
But Gilliam went with him. Like, I'm sure that caused some fights at home.
Oh, yeah.
And many of the dwarves in the film are Star Wars legends.
Mm-hmm.
C-3PO, or not C-3PO, R2-D2 is in here. But we have Sean Connery. Ian Holm watching Bilbo Baggins play Napoleon was a highlight for me. I love Ian Holm. I loved his performance. He really... I was watching this going like, man, he doesn't look that much older than he did in Fellowship of the Ring. But then I was like, that was 20 years later, and he still didn't look that much older. John Cleese as Robin Hood, fantastic. Shelley Duvall just did not have great luck in this time period. Between whatever went on the set between her and, why can't I think of his name? Kubrick.
Oh, Kubrick, yeah.
Abusing her.
Oh, he tortured her.
Kubrick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kubrick
for The Shining, he tortured her.
Oh.
Yep. And then apparently in the scene where she and Robin Hood are tied to the tree, or during the Robin Hood sequence, Terry Gilliam jumped off of a platform to show how it should look when the people landed in the transom carriage. But apparently when he was demonstrating it to her, he landed on her and caused a neck injury that she suffered from for a long time after filming.
Yikes.
He hurt her pretty bad. Yeah, it does suck. But I was surprised to see her in this film because outside of Popeye and The Shining, I'm not familiar with much else of her work. But I thought she was good. I liked her in this. So, and then David Warner as Evil is
so
excellent. Good. He is chewing up the scenery and just having a great time. And he was a standout. I loved his performance. So for the acting, I am a 4 on acting.
5.
I'm also 5. I do want to go back to John Cleese with all those dirty, gross, like scarred, mutilated bandits, and then it's just John Cleese in like a perfectly clean green Robin Hood outfit. I laughed when he showed up as the head of these disgusting bandits. I literally laughed out loud. It was so funny. Yeah. And then for me, Ian Holmes will always be Ash from Alien. That dude scares the shit out of me because so intimidating. 5. Sorry, 5 for acting.
It's so bad that in Alien Romulus, I don't even connect that AI, whatever that is in that film, is Ian Holm.
Yeah, agreed.
I know it's supposed to be, but I watch it and I'm like, it looks like a completely different. I mean, I guess that's there, but that's not Ian Holm.
No. Hate it.
All right, Jonathan.
Okay, yes. So I guess after that takes us on to direction. My favorite topic.
Did you score it?
Yeah, I said 5.
Oh, I didn't hear it. It was probably my internet cut out. It doesn't look like my signal is great. Get fiber, but fiber sucks here. Direction, yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, with direction, I really suck at this topic. I was getting better at, but then I don't know. I don't talk well about this part. Paul, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Sure. I honestly only have one note that's different than every other time I've talked about Terry Gilliam in this. In that I said Terry Gilliam's movies are always like a dream that's on the verge of a nightmare. Like he's just such an interesting individual that creates some dark imagery. And it's I love it. I can't get enough.
Yeah. So this was, from what I saw, this was his second solo directed feature. He's worked with others. And this was the second time it was just him. I do, like we said earlier, his background in animation is definitely there. But what I like is, like, he managed to make a movie that looks like a child's storybook.
Mm-hmm.
It's filled with fantastic imagery. And that is part of what makes this movie stand out. It's probably the top thing after my first watch. The imagery is what stands out in this film more than anything else. And on repeated watches, the story will grow on me for sure. But that imagery in this is fantastic, from dark, imposing castles of where evil lives to fantastical settings, beaches with giants, and like, it's awesome. He does a great job of making the story kind of exist in a living, breathing world, even though, like, yeah, we said we can see where the effects are used. Could be our trained eye, but it looks so good. he creates a believable world, and he melds the story together really well. So I give him credit there.
I just like the use of the settings. You know, a lot of the places and the camera angles worked well. But yeah, I don't know. I don't do direction well.
I agree.
That was the one thing. Paul mentioned my favorite shot. I think my favorite shot of the film was using the miniatures of the is it the fortress, when it just pans up and we're looking down, like stop motion effect in that, the miniatures, because you had the little figures on the bridge
Oh
that you
yeah,
could see just the stop motion effect of it. So cool. I loved that. That's probably my favorite shot of the film right off the top of my head. I'm a sucker for overhead shots. I love bird's eye view shots, but that was a good one. It's just a good looking film. I also enjoyed when the wall just sucks back at the beginning.
Oh yeah, in his room. Yeah, that's when you know you're like, oh, okay, we're getting into an adventure here.
Yes, that was a really good, really good sequence there. I am at a 4 on the direction.
I kind of feel like towards the end, where like before Kevin wakes up and he's getting all that smoke and carbon monoxide poisoning, maybe that's why his dream gets weirder and weirder and goes into that place with this whole toy setting surroundings. And I think that's kind of a cool perspective to think of about it with direction. So that and everything you guys said, 4.
I give it a 5. I'm a sucker for Terry Gilliam.
Can't fault you. Can't fault you. All right. So cultural significance for this one. This was a tough score for me. So go take it away, Jonathan.
Yeah, I don't know how much impact it really has. It's a cool film. It's one of those films of the 80s that people can reference because it's so bizarre, yet so fun, but for everyone. And it really had, I think it twisted a lot of minds for a lot of kids that led to a lot of awesome creations on down the line. You know, just how do I want to say this? Brain work. I think this, like the imagination in this film and others like it in the 80s had a pretty significant impact, but it seems like it's kind of petered out, you know, as you get on past, 2000, and then as things get more like CGI and everything, the loss of the use of like the practical aspect of things that we loved so much as a kids that they don't use now, it kind of takes it down a notch for me in this category, if that makes sense.
Okay.
For me, in my notes, I have the fact that I think about this movie probably once every 2 weeks, even though I haven't seen it in 20 years. So personally, it's very effective. Yeah. But I guess, the rest of the world, 1981, it was $5 million budget. It made $40 million. That's pretty good.
Yes.
He tried to do a sequel. They almost greenlit a sequel in the mid 90s. Unfortunately, several of the dwarves had died at that point, so they scrapped the sequel. And then now there's an Apple Plus show coming out. I don't know if it's out yet.
It's out. Remake.
Yeah, and even though he's not happy with it, the fact that they made one and there was a potential sequel, like it's not a one-hit wonder kind of thing. So I think it's not a perfect 5, but I feel like it's culturally relevant.
So I would have to agree. I didn't see this movie growing up, but this was a movie that I knew about. It's all I've always known about it. I can't remember the first time that I could reference knowing about Time Bandits, because I think I've just, like, that's how long I've known about it. whether it was seeing it on the shelf at the library or seeing it on the shelf at Walmart or hearing people talk about it. I've known about Time Bandits for decades and just haven't watched it. So I definitely think it's in the conversation. It's out there. I did know about the Apple TV remake. I heard it was terrible. I don't know. I think it kind of depends on if you like Taika Waititi or not, because he's who remade it. I do think it depends on if his humor lines up for you. It was a box office success. 35 million profit, I guess, is pretty decent. But yeah, I do think it's out there. I think what I'm seeing says it influenced The Princess Bride and, like we mentioned earlier, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So it does have its fingerprints out there, whether you know that it was from this movie or not. I will say this movie was nothing like I imagined it to be. So based on the posters and the cover art and what I've seen throughout time, I thought we were going to have a lot more time on a pirate ship than we did. I was kind of excited for that because I love pirates. But it was definitely different than what I imagined, but I do think it has some cultural significance. So I'm a 3 on cultural significance.
Hey, I'm a 3 as well.
I'm a 4. I feel like I'm personally biased, but yeah,
it's all right.
Give it a 4.
You're allowed to be. That's why our scoring system works like this. Okay, so then our final, how entertained were you is that right? Yeah, that's where we're at. How entertained were you out of 10, and your final thoughts on the film?
Well, I like this movie a lot. It's a lot of fun, and it's something I think it would be fun to share with your kids to a certain age. Maybe like if your kids are like maybe like around 8 years old or something, I'd probably sit them down and watch this with them. Maybe as young as 6. I don't know. I'm not sure how much. If I have kids, I'm not sure how much of them I want them to have a broken brain like I do from watching this kind of stuff so early. Because I watched a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have as a kid. God bless HBO and Cinemax as a kid and USA late at night. Just holy cow. Should not say so much stuff, but yeah, right. But this is a great movie. It's cool. It's people talk about it. It's something I'd be glad to have a discussion with people. And I'm pretty sure if I went to work, someone, at least a few people in my department, would be able to talk about this movie with me. It's awesome. But with some of the other small things I point out that kind of bummy, it's not super high on score, but I do feel like it's a 7 for me. And it's something I will watch again eventually, because it's like when I watched it today, it's like the first time I've watched it in a long time, like Paul. It's just, I don't think about it as much though.
Fair enough. I thought it was funny. I thought it was dark, and most of all, I thought it was beautiful. I gave it a 10. It's also very nostalgic for me, and I didn't realize it was going to be until I watched it again, and I was like, yeah, okay, all right. I'd like to watch this again under the influence, because I feel like it would be insane.
There you go.
Yeah. So for my first time watch, this was it's been hard because I don't think it's this movie's fault. I think it's just the month that I'm living in right now has made enjoying things difficult. But so I am kind of harder on this, but I'm trying not to knock it. I've tried to give it credit where I saw credit was due. And I do think this is one that I'll revisit. I do think this is one that I want to show my kids, because I actually want that I keep coming back on it. That conversation at the end about free will and evil is something that I have literally, outside of this movie, read books about free will and evil. And I think it's a very hard to grasp conversation for kids, but I also think it's one of those, like, Daddy, why do bad things happen? Like, well, you got to have this conversation. And I do think this movie is a nice gateway kind of to talk about things like that with kids. So I know I'm going to revisit this. I know I'm probably going to show kids this one day. But for now, I'm sitting at a 6. And that is I've tried to preface, I think it's the month I'm living in and just my first watch. I do think this is a movie that grows on me over time and repeated watches. I think the depth of it will become clearer on repeated viewings. So I'm giving it a 6, but I'm thinking it's probably an 8 or 9 in a couple years. So maybe we'll revisit it then. There's already a movie that we recorded 2 years ago before Jonathan was on that I think we need to revisit because my opinion has changed. So it happens. It happens. But yeah, I am a 6, which brings my total score. Paul, do you have your total, or you need me to send it to you?
I think I'm 45.
Yes, I think that sounds right.
And I am a 32.
So you're 32?
If I added that up correct, unless I'm stupid, which I could be.
I have you at a 39, which is decently
then
different.
I can't add. I missed something somewhere when I was adding up in a rush to submit my score.
That's okay. That is rounding from a 3-star to a 4-star. So that's
39 does sound more accurate.
Yeah. I am a 36, so not crazy off, but together the average of that rounds to a 40, so 4 stars out of 5, and I feel like that's a pretty appropriate summation of this film. I think 4 stars out of 5 is well accurate. So any last words, Paul?
I hope everyone goes and enjoys Tastes Like Candy, the new book. We spent a lot of time on that cover, and I love it. And right now I'm working on her next one to be released under Source Books, which is Mother Dear. It's going to be retitled to Fatally Yours. I think she's already mentioned that.
Yes.
But I'm working on that one right now, and I'm super psyched about that. So hopefully you guys can see that pretty soon.
Along with the retitle, is that an overhaul on cover or
completely new cover? Completely new cover, yeah.
So not an updated like Tastes Like
Candy. Not an update.
Yep. Well, I can't wait
I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on the new Tastes Like Candy. I'm excited for that. I'm genuinely excited for that.
Cool.
So I can't wait for that. Jonathan, last words on it? Are you ready to read us out?
I'm ready to roll.
You got the outro pulled up? Okay.
I do.
So that wraps up our first stop in the Childhood Fantasy series. And what a time-hopping ride it's been through the chaotic brilliance of Time Bandits.
Huge thanks again to our guest, Paul, for joining us today. Not only did he bring some great insight, but if you've ever admired the cover of Ivy Tholen's Tastes Like Candy or the updated cover on Jessica's version, then you've already seen his art in action.
Absolutely. And Paul's work has helped define, I don't know if you define the tone of the book. You're a reflection of the tone of the book, of some books that we thoroughly enjoy. And we've been thrilled to have you as part of this conversation.
Cool. Thanks for having me, guys. This has been great.
So don't forget, this is just the beginning of our childhood fantasy series. We'll be diving into more films that warped, shaped, and enchanted our young minds, whether they were meant to or not.
Oh, yeah. I'm genuinely excited. We have... I'm brain farting. I know we have Never Ending Story, Labyrinth, and there's one other in there. So
I feel like this movie also influenced Labyrinth. Labyrinth was, 5 years later?
Oh.
I feel like Labyrinth owes some thought to this movie as well.
So Labyrinth,
when you watch that.
Labyrinth is another first-time watch for me. So Dark Crystal, yeah.
Oh,
So I'm
nice.
excited for Labyrinth. I have seen Dark Crystal. Like, I don't think I've seen that one since I was a child. So, anyways, until next time, thanks for tuning into The Average, where the real review happens with your friends. Oh.